And we are live today on the 22nd of October. Welcome. Come on in, funnel inside as we get going. Let me get this camera a little lower. Get this camera just a little bit lower. Adjust that just a bit. Get that position just right. There we go. Like that. Welcome. Right. We are getting closer to end of the year. We are getting much closer to the end of the year. And the fact that we've had another year of Nouvelle Haiti, right? Another year of the incredible ness that is, being Haitian and being very desiring of a Haiti that's functional, and another year of it not being that, but it keeps us on our toes here. And of course, it doesn't stop. It hasn't. I mean, a lot of folks I know haven't been necessarily affected in terms of their desire, right? That the capacity of what they wanted to do have been slowed, but we're here, and it's another week. We have lots to talk about. I have a special guest. Someone very knowledgeable about the ins and outs of Haiti, both in terms of the public sector, and also being very engaged in action, in activities happening in Haiti, and then also someone very involved in the diaspora, right? And so this guest you're going to want to stick around for. We're going to have an incredible, deep conversation. So don't go anywhere. But first off, we're gonna talk, because there's a lot of stuff that has happened recently that we need to brush up on. Particularly, one thing in particular is this UN report. Oh my God, there's so much in this report. We're not gonna even 156 pages. Come on, we're not gonna go through everything, but we're gonna pull up this report, and we're gonna look at a couple paragraphs in there that are particularly telling and particularly damning for a handful of people. So we're going to talk about that, right? And some other things happening in Haiti. So stay tuned. Per usual, you already know it's a one-man show on Sunday, so we're going to go ahead and get the intermission going. So if you're watching this after the fact, probably want to jump ahead 3-4 minutes or so you can get back to the meat and potatoes. But anyone else watching live, do feel free to take it as an opportunity to share this live, right? And then grab some coffee and get yourself real comfortable, right? And just be ready for a great show. Don't forget, drop a comment, and good morning. And we are back. We are back. Welcome. We're streaming Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, right? We're on him. On him. Welcome, 22nd of October. Got a great show ahead of us. Good morning. Good morning. Let me get this. This is a little taking up too much screen, huh? And this is the SeeJeanty show, not the microphone show. Huh? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Jeanty, SeeJeanty here. We have a great show ahead of us, right? We have lots to talk about. Lots of things have happened this past week, right? Come on in. Don't be shy. Derrickson, Luz Jean, good morning. We got Chill in the house with the Haitian flag. What's up? Good morning. Teddy Clement in the house. OG, good morning. Good morning. We got Stefan Corn IG. Salute. Good morning. Happy to have you in the chat here. We have a conversation ahead of us, and we have an incredible guest too today. Do stick around for that part of the show. Someone who's been in the public sector as a Haitian diaspora. Well, actually not native, but went away, came back. Okay, and then also has been very involved in different, in very important projects within Haiti. And additionally, someone who has been very active within the Haitian diaspora in different organizations on the U.S. side, and so this is going to be someone who's going to be add a lot of perspective, a lot of value for us here in this conversation we're going to have today. So make sure you stick around for that. It's going to be really great. It's going to be really insightful, right? 22nd of October, the year's just about on the tail end, but we're still here. We still got a lot of year to go. Still a lot to still happen for Haiti. I've got this intervention around the corner, right? Whether or not it's going to be effectual or not, we're gonna see. We have a front row seat in terms of what happens, how it happens, right? We're seeing history. Very, very important page in Haiti's history. We're right here on the cusp. So it's 2023, right? So of course, before we get started in this show, we just want to do our top of the hour chores, as it were. Le premier aspect, c'est que show ça, que voilà, son show nous fait en anglais parce que nous avons nécessité pour nous partager une perspective de Haïti, de nous, de ça qu'a fait dans le pays. Non, gens qui les mondes qui comprennent, les gars pile côté dans réseau nouvelle haïtienne qui ou ka joindre détail ça nous va parler là et clairement et jour à jour et mais ça qui manque pour nous c'est un côté du monde qui a venu fait marque bon m'a dit on sent du monde mais on devoir pour ajouter et sous compréhension de Haïti dans le langage international. OK, c'est la raison nous fait l'anglais ça dans langue ça que on va le donner tout à l'heure là, c'est pas que nous manque de respect en créole, nous avons pile respect pour créole là, mais simplement nous avons une mission qui est différente. So et non sens d'excuses, avec un jour qui venir, la tellement côté là, tellement YouTuber, tellement monde qui a by on perspective ça qui n'a pas là pour les monde comprendre. Qui m'a besoin faire dans l'autre langue yo, m'ga consulter dans bon engagement mon papa nous. Vous comprenez? Mais juste quand ça arrivé, maintenant que émission j'en connais, right? Just a quick preface of Creole, nothing but love and respect for Creole. We just have a bit of a mission here to try to spread the word of what's happening in country, and doing it in a language that's a bit international, for international understanding. 100% Haitien, right? It's I'm gonna go ahead and drop that link. Go drop that link on Amazon right now. There's not only our branded products, but other stuff we're selling, from Rebo Cafe to Haitian Lalo. We added a brand new product line actually, Confiture from Delicious Tropical, right? Basically Haitian jam. A lot of folks have been asking us That is a staple product. Folks have been asking, and so we've obliged, right, to get that available to the masses here. Of course, that has to do with the hyper distribution. What we're doing, we're bringing products by the container load out of Haiti, and that is one. We have, you'll be able to find in the link I just dropped on Amazon. You'll be able to find Haitian rice, Jeanty, real stuff, directly out of Latibonite Valley. Let me show you the other products, and I'm going to go on a quick side rant. Right, I have to. Boule de chocolat, that real good stuff. We're entering the winter season, and it's the season for your chocolate, Haitian chocolate, and of course, jonjon, that real stuff, not the other stuff, the real stuff. We got that jonjon. One thing that's irked me, guys, and I'm gonna ask for your help, okay, is that we have to understand something, right? We are watching the news. Everyone who's watching this is very aware of how difficult it is in Haiti for just regular Haitian citizens, right? We all know how difficult it is and we're going to have a much healthier appreciation by the end of this live stream, the extent of which insecurity has ravaged since 2020 and is ravaging our country, right? A lot of businesses have shut down. A lot of business people have left the country. Okay, a lot of farmers have been unable to do what they do. Despite that, my company, Hyper Distribution, we continue to be on the ground. We continue to buy Haitian products directly from Haitian producers, Haitian agricultural faculties. Even in the best of times, Haiti is in an uncompetitive position because you have governments that are shelling millions to billions of dollars in subsidies, America included, right? You look at the corn market, right, here in America. And you're competing against that. You're competing against companies in countries where the government does its job, invests in roads, invest in trains, invest in ports, invest in security. So the cost of a company doing business in countries are pennies on the dollar versus you as a Haitian who has to have their own electricity. We have to have our own security, right? Security guards. We have to go through roads that, literally my maintenance costs of our trucks and our vehicles could very easily double our payroll just for the maintenance alone, for the trucks we use to go pick up our products and get it to our specific warehouse in Haiti and get it packaged. Because the roads are so bad. The roads are so bad, right? It takes an incredible amount of maintenance on your vehicles, right? I can go on and on in terms of the cost of doing business. And on top of that, at the end of the day, the productivity, unfortunately, of the farmers you're working with, the associations you're working with, are a fraction of what it was if it was an entity in India or Thailand. I share all this to say there's a review right now on this product for Jeanty that really bothers me. It really bothers me. You know why it bothers me? It bothers me because they're saying, oh my God, this is just so much money. Okay, so it's $20. It's 4 pounds, $20. Okay. And by the way, most of it's Amazon fees. I got to share that, by the way. A lot of you guys don't sell on Amazon. Amazon fees. Listen, if it was up to me, this would be about $12, right? And when we sell them locally in the stores here after the retail markup, it's about $12, $13. This is what I'd sell it for $12, $13 if I could. But just for me to make the usual margin, Amazon takes about $8. So you guys have to realize Amazon is a mother lover. Most of what you pay for when you buy on Amazon, just by the way, is Amazon fees. You guys have to understand. So that's another sidebar. Let me come back to the main sidebar. They're showing a photo of a rice product. It says Jeanty on it, but in actuality, it's rice from India. I know the company that sells it. I know the owner that sells it. Okay. He's a nice guy. I've sold to him actually other products. He's a nice guy. Okay, guy out of New Jersey. Okay, Indian. He's an Indian buying Indian rice, slapping the label of Jewish shell on this, and because it's out of India and the cost being what I think I just explained, he can get 5-6 times the rice versus myself, who's actually getting it out of Haiti. And so he's able to provide a 20-pound bag for roughly the same price than what I sell online. And they do a side-by-side comparison. Look how much more I can get, right? But it's not Haitian rice. It's not from Haiti. It's Indian rice owned by a non-Haitian, right? Selling to us, just like Madame Gugus, right? Selling to us. And what most irks me is that this person is so naive that they're literally knocking a real Haitian product that's its resource, its money, its proceeds are going to support real Haitian agriculture. And just to say, look what I can get from India. Like, yo. So I'm asking for a favor, guys. If you watch this, if you support what we're doing, if you love Haiti, if you know the real path forward for Haiti is supporting our economy, is to go. I'm gonna redrop that link one more time. Go buy 1 bag of this Haitian rice, all right, and leave a review, right? I'm not saying just force it, be positive. Go ahead, actually cook this bad boy up. If you had actually ever had real Jewish shell-out rice, I'm talking the stuff out of Haiti. It's unscented, right? It has that real earthy, raw smell, okay, and that flavor, all right? Gotta know what you're doing. You cook the real Haitian rice, you gotta know what you're doing. You gotta know, you gotta wash this an extra time or two if you know what you're doing, all right? If you have real ZP, what they call it. If you ever, I don't know last time you guys been to Haiti, if you ever been to Haiti, but go to Haiti and actually ZP as your rice of choice, and you'll taste the flavor and the difference. It's not for everybody. I gotta tell you right now, ZP is not for everybody, but that is what we sell here. If you legitimately like it, leave an actual review and do explain some of the things I've mentioned here, the issues of why the price is where it is, right? And of course, we're working with our producers, working with associations to improve the output and drive that cost down. But we're not the government. We don't have Bacaluder. We don't have a lot of resources to kind of, we're building our, take a look at this. We're building our first canal. Dominican Republic has 11 canals on a river. We're building our first. This is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about, guys. Right? And so of course it's a long road to get this down, but it starts with understanding what's really coming out of Haiti and supporting it, right? And so those who are able to go to this link here and select the Haitian rice and buy it and leave a review explaining the realities will be much appreciated. All right, one love. So that's a quick sidebar. Oh, by the way, listen, you guys both hit me up. We got lots of JoJo. You hear me? Hit me up. Hit me up. Lots of JoJo out of Haiti. You hit me up. Yeah. We good out here. Hit me up. Hyperdistribution.com if you want that big bag. We're not selling anywhere else right now. That's one of our wholesale orders, right? So those are interested, hyperdistribution.com. And of course, those are interested in supporting what we got going on here, SeeJeanty Media. Do consider going to our private WhatsApp group, SeeJeanty, SeeJeanty.com/private-WhatsApp-group. It's our Patreon. It supports what we got going on here. We have a whole staff here that operates 5 days a week. All right. And your support goes to doing and keeping what we're doing here. Say what's up to sharing Jeanty. You got another Jeanty in the house. What's up, Shailene? We got Emmanuel Ismi in the house. What's up? We got Knowledge the God in the house. What's up? Joshua Jean. Respect, real OG. Appreciate you. Thank you, sir, for being in the chat today. Louis Fernand in the house. What's up? What's up? Shimon, Sabrina, Samzi. What's up? Happy to have you in the house today. My language trainer, Go Fund Haiti. Check out that website, Go Fund Haiti. Doing some really incredible stuff. GoFundHaiti.com. LF in the house. Good morning. Good morning. Just want to say what's up. We're gonna jump right into the meat and potatoes of the content. We have incredible guests. I look forward to transitioning to the guest and really having a deep conversation about the different things they've been involved in and then their projection of where Haiti's going in the future. So we're gonna switch over in about let's say 20-ish minutes, okay, from now. In the meantime, let's update ourselves on what's been happening. Right. First and foremost, canal pap campe keep it KPK baby. Canal pop campe. Right. Canal still moving strong. My last reports I've heard, it's more than 50% complete. More than 50% complete. I've been given my donations. Let me reshare the info on our end here of who to provide to. If you haven't provided to, Antoine Claude, for one of the lead organizing groups. You just put Antoine Claude when you send over the money through Western Union, right, or whichever bank transfer that works for you. That's his info. His WhatsApp's there too. You can reach out and contact him, have a conversation with him direct before you give. Doing great work. In fact, I was just talking to Antoine just yesterday. He was part of a very important meeting that was planning what comes next. A lot of folks are to always say, okay, great, Chris, we get build this canal, but what comes next? And they're just in a meeting with all the other founders, a lot of in the civic leaders within this movement, and they were talking about how they're looking to fortify the dam further down. They're looking to ensure they keep up a maintenance regime. They're looking forward to hiring folks to make sure the canal stays clean of trash, right? And so there's a plan here, guys. This isn't Haiti 101, the Haiti that we know. This isn't the build it now and forget about it. This is something else, man. I'm trying to tell you, this is something else. This is the ambers of something very beautiful being relit here, guys. And I want to make sure if you haven't given to another, Bertrude or someone fantastic who's doing some great work, also consider giving to Antoine Claude here. Information is on screen. Okay. Personally vetted by me, which I'm on the post of it. It took a long time before I could provide a recommendation because I wanted to make sure that recommendation was solid, good, and the money was going to get to where it needed to get to. And I can say that with confidence. That is indeed what's going to happen with Antoine Claude. All right. But canal about Campe, as it relates to the border and the frontier, there's some places where the free flow is happening a little easier but I can tell you what I meant. They're still staying pretty strong in terms of cutting their business ties and focusing more on what's happening on the Haitian side. I can tell you that with strong confidence. We do have to keep an eye out on the contraband trade, right? Especially one of the reports we're going to be talking about shortly has that most of these guns after the U.S. come from the Dominican Republic, right? I mean, they're American guns, obviously, but they're coming through the very porous border of the Dominican Republic, right? And so, there is a rather sophisticated network that already exists to get illicit products out of DR into Haiti, and that hasn't really been tackled in any form, right? And if anything, it emboldens those who are in that trade, because now not only are they selling these very high margin guns, but now when you close the frontier to legal trade, it only adds to the variety, right, and the margin capacity of those in this illicit trade. So we always have to, life is cause and effect. We have to think about exactly the long-term effects of closing the border. Yes, it's symbolically important, and it's necessary, but it's necessary hand in hand with border control, right? We need, I think Nick Limeng, says it quite well. We have to control our borders, fundamentally. And what's interesting is while there's been an incredibly strong crackdown of containers coming in the country, we got to give the government kudos where we can give them kudos. They've been aggressively checking containers, unfortunately slowing down trade, but really trying to crack down on that. But on the flip side, we've understood that more and more have been coming through Dominican Republic, right? So something we've got to keep in mind, certainly, right? as relates to an intervention, things are moving forward. I think on the 24th is when the injunction by the Kenyan court is supposed to be, well, a decision is supposed to be made, right? And um, a lifting of the current injunction of police leaving for Haiti would be lifted. So we're going to keep a very close eye on that. How quickly will things kick off once the local politics in Kenya have sort of settled down? We'll see, right? But it's certainly something we're keeping an eye on, because I can tell you, as I'm talking to you today, this past week, there's been fighting amongst gangs. Even myself, I can share this openly. We couldn't even get a container out this week, right? Because the gangs were so busily fighting in the downtown area of Port-au-Prince, right? We couldn't even get a container out, right? We're expecting things have calmed down enough to where we do expect we can get a container out this coming week. But this is what I'm talking about. It may not be on the news as strongly, given a lot of the different things that have been happening, but gangs are still fighting. Gangs are still, and the kidnapping has gone down. That I can, from everyone I've spoken to, kidnapping have gone down tremendously, right? But the other levels of insecurity and violence have still been very high, right? And it's a problem, right? So, give me a second here. Your should be, yeah, thanks. We did help build a canal. We did help build a canal. Not just, when I say you, I don't say I wouldn't. It was us. We did. Our community here did. We raised $10,000 plus for the canal there. In fact, I really tried to get Said, Magistrat Said, to come on and give a conversation. Regrettably, his schedule hasn't been able yet to align to be on the show. But certainly, I think we've been there before. And I have a lot of respect for what Bertrude is doing right now, because she is leading the charge and physically ensuring that, things are being delivered, money's being accounted for. A lot of respect for her. And regrettably, my personal life, new kids, a baby that just turned 1 month yesterday. So that's preventing a level of engagement that I would prefer to have. But I think we all can hopefully understand, family has to come first. For any revolution, you got to ensure, the family's taken care of first. And so, but nonetheless, we're going to be hitting it this coming year. And in fact, in December, we should be physically over to be able to, shoot some content for the canal. So FYI. So let's go ahead and talk about really, well, actually another important sidebar. And a very important arrest happened, right? A very important arrest happened just this week. A fellow by the name of Bajo, right? Bajo was arrested, right? Was arrested yesterday, right? Key suspect was arrested, right? 2 years he was on the run. 2 years, right? 2 years. This fellow's on the run. Joseph Felix Bajo, right? Key suspects. A lot of folks have said he is one of the masterminds, if not the mastermind for this. Who Joseph Felix Bajo is a longtime go chef. A longtime go chef. He's been the head of various ministers, departments in Haiti, right? Amongst different previous organizations, administrations. And he's very close, all accounts, very, very close to Ariel Henry. Very, very close. So close, in fact, there's been allegations proven that before the assassination, hours before the assassination, And within a few hours after the assassination, there were phone calls, okay, between Ariel Henry and the supposed mastermind of the assassination. All right. Now, this show in a conspiracy theory, but I mean, you're making it hard. You're making it hard not to conspiracize, you know. And in fact, quite frankly, one argument against what a lot of folks are trying to do in terms of conspiracy theories is the fact that, listen, if this was real, how was this guy? Our report says he was roaming the Port-au-Prince area. You know, folks were seeing him. He wasn't hiding, put it like that, right? And he was caught in one of the most. It's like going to Walmart, right? It's like he went to basically the Walmart of Haiti, you know, which is like where everybody shops, right? And he was arrested then, right? And so if this was actually a conspiracy, would he not be unalived, right? Would he have not been unalived before this, right? And now between now and when he gets potentially, the reports are saying that they are trying to get him out of Haiti, right? Between now and then, if he does get unalived, you know, at that point, I'm gonna have to jump on the conspiracy bandwagon. I'm gonna have to. I don't want to. I like to report to you guys facts over fiction, right? Well, I say facts, like, you know, what we're going to be talking about right now with the UN report, like hard facts, right? This is what we like to talk about here. But at some point, you know, we're going to have to say, okay, 2 + 2 really does equal 4, right? So he's in custody. A lot of questions have been opened with him being in custody. And I think a lot of folks are nervous right now. We have a lot of folks who are mighty nervous. Okay. Yes, James Dubin, we're talking about Baggio, Joseph Felix Baggio, right? So, you know, I think, as I said in the start, you know, this, you know, we're almost at the tail end of this year, but there's a lot of juice left at this current events in Haiti that, you know, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be mighty interesting. Okay. All right. So let's talk about this UN report. Let me go ahead and pull it up here. I want to share my screen with you guys real quick, because really I want to talk about this, and then in about 15 minutes we're going to bring our guest on. In about 15 minutes we're going to bring our guest on. I want to take about a solid 15 minutes and talk about this here. Right? Let me get this on screen here, guys. All right, this report. All right. Here it is. All right, you guys should be seeing it right there. All right, this report right here, which is the security. This is from the Security Council. The Security Council is made up of, you know, all the names you know, right? U.S., France, China, you know, China, Russia, Germany, UK, etc. And this is a report that was provided to them, right? Provided to them to understand the situation, right? It's 156 pages, right? You can see that number right there, 156 pages worth, and there's a lot of stuff in here, right? The summary of it is that it's really what it's what we knew, right? It goes over the fact that there is a clear connection between the elected. And by the way, those on Instagram, please hop over on YouTube or Facebook, and you'll be able to see what I'm showing right now. So if you're on IG, come over, same thing, SeeJeanty, the same SeeJeanty you see, SeeJeanty. And you'll see what we're talking about right now, okay? But it goes over what we know, which is there is a very clear connection between the politicians and the economic elite and the gangs. A very clear connection in terms of support, financial, ammunition, guns, protection, right? There's a degree of protection that's afforded to these guys that you don't touch them. They're untouched guys. The reason why many of them could be touched, but they don't get touched because of these connections, these intertwined relationships. And we always talked about this, right? And we've always alluded, well, we talk about who are, the economic, we allude to them. In this report here, they're telling you straight up, here's a few of them by name, right? We're going to talk about that. We're going to get specifically to that part in a moment, but just in terms of summary, this report is very interesting because they talk about, not only do they lay out the territories of what's covered, we're going to show that too. We're going to show that because, what territories are covered, the names of the gang leaders, the levels of violence reported, the statistics, right? It really lays all that out, in this report, right? It talks about ultimately a path forward, which involves reinforcing the security apparatus in the country, right? It also talks about Boakali and how the movement has spread in the country, right? And the very important need for the fact that sanctions alone, says it right here, sanctions alone won't be able to change the thing, right? And of course, there is a push for strong international security support, because they're using the word support, not necessarily force anymore, but support, for rapid expansion and to help in addition to what they're trying to do sanction wise. Now, before we go any further, I want to just opine. I want to opine that it is we haven't seen this before necessarily at this veracity. I mean, we've seen in the past, Bijou has been sanctioned. We've had other names sanctioned more in line with the politics of what may have been going on at the time. But this is the first time we're seeing such a very, listen, the U.S. have sanctioned somewhere around 19 or so. Canada sanctioned 20 some odd or so. Dominican Republic, I don't know what the hell they're doing there. They sanctioned 50 plus people out of it. They're just sanctioning for you, and God bless them. Okay. But, there is an effort here, that actually November, December, there's going to be really the final boss level of sanctions where, members within the Security Council are uniformly going to sanction a number of individuals, right? And we'll almost just about guarantee the ones mentioned in this report will be those folks, but it will be more. And what that means is that these individuals are legitimately going to have a very difficult time existing, right? If you can't go to, and on top of this, the individual countries who are going to sanction them, there is a ripple effect of where they can't go and where they can't do business. And there's been folks recently, like for example, Carl Brun, who was the CEO, PDG of, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Unibank, right? And him being sanctioned meant he had to step down as CEO of Unibank. I'm saying his name wrong, excuse me, but Abdullah, or Adullah, Also a very high up important executive within SeeJeanty, also had gotten sanctioned, also had to step down from the bank, right, and divest his shares, completely sever his shares completely. You have a degree of individuals at the moment being, and we're talking industrialists in Haiti, who are being sanctioned and are having to divest their interest. We're seeing an incredible chilling effect in the activities of Haiti, right? When you're legitimately going after, for the first time, a lot of these elites that everyone who's in Haiti, I don't need to say names, but a lot of these names that are being sanctioned right now are names that we all have known to be involved in illicit things in the country, right? And the fact that they're actually getting the attention. I mean, just the fact that they're getting the attention at an international level is something we've never seen. And quite frankly, of all the things happening right now in Haiti, I think that potentially is, dare I say, maybe the most hopeful, right? It's certainly different. And one thing I've disliked about how Haiti's been treated in the international community is just how you keep doing the same things, right? Oh, let's get the president out, right? Let's get him out. Let's and then we'll go do another period of transition, right? And then we'll get another president in, and then there's a spike in security. Let's go ahead and get another international force in there, and nothing has changed, right? This has been a cycle that's been happening since 1990. Nothing has changed. At least this time, we are naming names. We're saying, hey, these are individuals who have had very clear connection with gangs, right? And we are going after their assets, going after their money, right? And where this is going to lead, I don't know, but I am all for accountability. For justice starts with accountability. And if these individuals are known assailants to the insecurity that we've had in Haiti, then they need to be held accountable. Period. Point blank. Right. And where that leads to, we're going to find out. But that is an important first step in getting Haiti to where it needs to be, because it's not going to be the Haitian government that does it. Right. So here's what I want to jump to, guys. I want to jump to, again, it's a very long report. And in fact, you can get it if you go to ITLib. ITLib, it is an article, and you can get access to this as well. I want to jump to this right here. This is interesting, by the way. Before I go, this is interesting. There's better maps too. We're gonna show that, but this is Port-au-Prince. Let me try to zoom in here, guys. I don't know if you can really see this. Let me try to zoom in a little bit. All right, and you can kind of see that. This is rough. All right, those who know Port-au-Prince, there's very few patches where that isn't gang control, right? When they say Haiti, Port-au-Prince is 80% plus gang control, this is what they mean. You have, and what's really screwy is that some of the most important infrastructure in all of Haiti, this part right here, near the base of the bay, right? Because that is where our oil and fuels are stored. That is the primary port where 80% of cargo come in and out of the country. The other big one is Port Lafito, but 80%, Lafito only has maybe 20% of that volume. 80% has to go through gang territory, right? Quadabuque, which was growing and becoming a very important agricultural outputter. I mean, it's completely, you can see the circle here. It's completely under gang territory, right? And then you just have this hodgepodge of patches, right? Across Pétionville, across Delma, right? Where, and take a look at Vivi Michel, right? A lot of folks know Vivi Michel as one of the better places, nicer places in Haiti. But look at Belleville, Vivi Michel, all under gang territory. And even traditionally folks growing, who know Haiti, have always thought of La Boule, Kinskov as safer places, as you can see right here, under gang territory. Right? Problematic. Right? It just really drives home the extent of which, it's, I mean, it's, it's heartbreaking, I can say. Knowing what Haiti was just in 2017, in just 3 short years, to see Port-au-Prince in this extent in just 2-3 short years. Haiti and Port-au-Prince, and believe it or not, was never known to be a gang. This whole gang concept was never been a thing. Never been a thing. But anyways, let me jump to what I really want to talk about. Then we're gonna jump and get our guest on board when I really get this conversation going. So this right here, you know me. We don't do. Let me try to find it really quick. Here it is. All right. Let me make sure this is the section. Yeah, this is the section. So it starts right here. Right. Link between political, economic actors and gangs. Right. Just right here. A lot of folks don't like the fact that I don't. Sometimes I'm not doing what everybody else is doing, and just I'm not more of a. I just don't report inklings of what I've heard. I need facts, right? I need sources like the UN to say, hey, this is what we've gathered, right? And I'm just reporting it to you. I'm not more of I'm not looking to be sued in defamation for millions of dollars. That's that. I got too much going on. I don't got time for all that, right? We report facts over here, right? And here's facts. Let me just read it to you. The panel notes that some of the relationships may have shifted over time, right? The development of autonomous sources of revenues of gangs below has contributed to high levels of autonomy from the traditional brokers. However, the current law is visible activities between gangs and some members of the political economic elite does not necessarily mean that they've been disconnected. Relationships remain fluid, right? Panel has evidence that Renaud Zib, the chief operating officer of Deka Group, very big organization. Those of you may not know what Deka Group, what are you talking about? What's Deka Group? Bongo cereal, right? Bongo lait canation, right? A lot of different other food products that are coming in, like baby food, baby formula. You hear about them. Deka Group also most of the, I'd probably say 50% of the motorcycles in Haiti that you see folks riding little top cruisers, guess what? Deka Group has imported them. Right? Big organization, many prongs. A lot of different lines of business this company has. Right? A leading importer of consumer goods sanctioned by a member state. I believe Canada has already sanctioned him, I believe, has been financing members of gangs to protect his business and secure the transportation of imports. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can read this clearly, right? In 2017, Mr. D paid a leader of a gang to facilitate business of one of the main ports. More recently, several independent sources explain that Mr. D has been using gangs to put pressure on custom officials so that don't inspect or intercept his containers. By the way, I'm very much aware, as I'm in the import-export lane, right? This he does numbers. Like I'm talking on one boat, this guy can have 4, 5, 6 containers, right? Both coming in and coming out. Like, this is, when you talk about industrialists, this guy is an industrialist. You hear me? There's entrepreneurs, there's capitalists, and then there's industrialists. You hear me? This guy's an industrialist. He's that final boss level of wealth and power that you usually see on the History Channel. This guy is it. I'm telling you. So when they say that they don't want to inspect or intercept his containers, this is what we're talking about, right? Thereby allowing him to bypass certain import duties. Let me keep highlighting it, right? Finally, because of the G9 controls the area around Autorité Port APN, which is the port, of course, and roads leading to it, Mr. D, like other main importers, have been paying gangs for the passage of his merchandise through their territory. Right? Right there. Right there. Right there. It's right there. All right. There is a proactiveness in his collaboration. Right. And is it a reactive? I don't know. You know, in terms of paying for access through the territory, I don't know. Right. But you can see a very clear engagement per what the UN has written. Right. Paul Gordon has asked where I get this from. This is published. This is United Nations, published United Nations, right? You can go on ITLib, ITLIBRE, and one of the articles you'll be able to download this yourself and read this yourself. All right, all right. It continues and says between September and December 2019, when Haiti was subject to paylock, the political opposition supported by economic actors, including Mr. D, called on the public to stay at home, putting pressure on then President Moise to end his term. Right? Public transport was paralyzed owing to a lack of fuel. Schools were closed. In a calculated move, Mr. D took advantage of this high demand for food supplies by bribing politicians, who would then pay gang leaders to unblock the street by dispersing the demonstrators to allow them to transport his merch. So he was part of the problem and then came around and profited on the solution. Michael Martelly, right? Served from 2011 to 2016, used gangs to expand his influence over neighborhoods to advance his political agenda. This is the UN writing this, contributing to a legacy of insecurity, the impacts of which are still being felt today. But y'all still going to his parties. Y'all still going to his balls. You guys are still showing up. Sweet Mickey, I don't care. I don't give a damn. Meanwhile, Haiti's in a situation where it is right now. Right? The panel received information that during his tenure, Mr. Martelly had sponsored multiple gangs, such as Base 257, Village Dédié, Tibois Grand Ravine, right? Including through the provision of funds and our firearms. Not his funds, state funds. State funds to gangs. State guns to gangs. Guns that should have went to the police went to gangs under Martelly. This is written. This is what this ain't conspiracy, baby. It's right here. It's right here. Several sources confirm that Martelly created Base 257. The man is creating, not just supporting gangs that were creating gangs, which over time was financed and armed to prevent anti-government demonstrations from taking place in Pétionville, especially from 2014 onwards. From 2014, the seeds were being planted, which became ripe around 2019, 2020. The gang regularly conducts murders, kidnappings, thefts, drug trafficking. Mr. Martelly has also used intermediaries to build relationships and negotiate with other gangs, including through the foundation of members of security detail. For instance, Arnell Joseph. All right. Arnell Joseph, the former chief of village DJ gangs, stated that he regularly talked with an intermediary working in close protection of a unit of Mr. Martelly, adding that the intermediary provided him with firearms and significant amounts of cash. In a video, Tilapli, one of the current leaders of Gangavin, explained that the former president had given Tet Kale, the former Gangavin chief, a 5.56 millimeter rifle belonging to the police, as well as a similar rifle to Chrysla, chief of Tibois. Following the assassination of Tet Kale, Tilapli retrieved the weapon. UN report. Martelly. Y'all still going to his balls, right? I don't care. I don't give a damn. Do, 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 do. Meanwhile, we're in a situation today where folks are crossing through ravines through Mexico because of the actions of one man. There's another fella, I won't give this guy too much time. Profane Victor, a very important member of parliament, though. Haiti Bonite, has been also overrun by gangs. And this individual, Profane Victor, was very directly, just like Martelly was someone who was handing out gangs. One thing that's particularly bad about the Haiti Bonite gang is the sexual violence. I mean, these guys really have crystallized the assault, the rape of many women and men in their territories. And this individual, Profane Victor, was very instrumental in what has happened there. So we'll skip over that, right? Just because for time, and I want to get to my guest. The last paragraph or two I want to read has to do with Yuri Latotu. That's right, the man that there isn't no bigger open secret. This guy is as much of an open secret in terms of being in bed with gangs and the worst elements of Haitian politicalness as it was an open secret of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. Ba-dum-bum. I mean, everybody knew. I'm not even in Hollywood, and I knew Jada was doing dirt on Will, open marriage, da-da-da-da. This was known. I'm nowhere near it, but this is known. Everybody knew. She's writing books now, putting business out, even more details. No one asked for your details, man. Man, we know enough. Stop it. Sidebar. Let's get back on the subject. Yuri, we know about Yuri. Everyone knows about Yuri. Everyone. But let's bring this home for Yuri. Yuri from Guanaive, formerly of the president of the Senate from 2017 to 2018, experts exerts considerable control over political economic life in Haiti Bonite department, including through the use of gang members, in particular from the Raboto gang, which he's been financing and arming. More recently, a confidential source has explained to the panel how Latutu has been sponsoring Kokoratsaras, an extremely violent gang from Haiti Bonite, in collusion with Raboto. Mr. Latutu has used gang members as close protection and to destroy property. In addition to the evidence collected by the panel, Mr. Latutu has been sanctioned by Canada, United States for supporting gangs. The panel has recently provided video recording, of barbecue stating Latutu gave them $30,000. What's so crazy about this? These guys will go on. That's how brazen these guys are. They'll go on the press. They're not hiding about it. They go on the press and say, yeah, this is just a politically motivated attack. And justice will see them through. Brother, this is the UN. And by the way, I want to show you guys something. If you flip towards the back of this, this is most of this report is proof. Most of this report is all right. Here's pictures of letters, and this is imagery, and it's facts and figures. It's here's photos, and here's this is this is Ezo's. I mean, my God, look at this. Look at this. Ezo's house. This is in the middle of the hood. My man has pools, and my God, look at this. Look at this. Right? So most of this report isn't just accusations. There's actual photo evidence of many of the things being talked about here, right? Hard facts and figures. You're seeing kidnapping is going up, hard facts and figures, right? Of many of the things you see writings, you see, right? Right. This is one of the laundering operations where money was taken out of the state to be given to gangs, right? This is hard evidence where evidence or folks are going through and potentially gun evidence are coming out of guns are coming out of containers, and how that whole process works, and how just porous it is to get access to containers, right? And so I encourage you guys to go and let me do this for you. Let me go ahead and grab the link for you guys. It's a really important. I think this is we can spend half a day. We can do a live half a day going through this report. I just read to you about 4 or 5 paragraphs. Okay, I just read 4 or 5 paragraphs. Right. Let me go get this link for you guys. 1 second. Let me get this link for you guys, and you guys go ahead and download this, man. And then and it makes for real good Sunday reading, boy. Let me tell you. Give me a second to find it real quick. Okay, I think this is it right here. Let me double check. Yep, here it is. Yep, here it is. I'm going to go drop it in the chat right now. I'm going to drop it in the chat. It's you got to scroll down a little bit, but you'll see the link at the very bottom. I just dropped it in the chat. Okay. All right, I just dropped it in the chat. So feel free, bookmark that, take a look at that, at your leisure. The facts and figures are there; they don't lie. Okay. By the way, I don't listen. I need you guys to go follow me on TikTok. I'm short like 100 followers on TikTok, man. I can't go live. It's crazy. I can't go live on TikTok. I'm lacking about 100 followers. So if y'all watching this, you want your boy to go live on TikTok, go ahead and follow me. You know what I mean? But it's incredible. And we got real facts, real figures. Right? This ain't no conspiracy. This ain't InfoWars. This is facts. And it's heartbreaking to know that we are where we are because we have our economic, in any other country. Yes, the economic leaders are selfish, but they're not necessarily doing things to destroy a nation. But they're purposely doing things to destroy a nation to advance their interest. And that's wild. That's uniquely Haitian. And that's uniquely heartbreaking. Uniquely. So I go on and on this. I could very easily add another hour worth of this sort of conversation. But we have someone we're gonna really dive deep with. Here. But before you do, I'm gonna have to take a quick break, and then when I get back, we're gonna introduce this incredible guest, and then we're gonna have an incredible conversation. But I'm about needing about a minute, right? We'll be right back. Let me go for you guys, and then we have an incredible guest. Don't go anywhere. I promise you. As good as this show has been, it's only gonna get better. All right. And we are back. The guest I have is going to be helping us out in this conversation. Someone I have tremendous respect for. Someone who, when I first moved to Haiti, uh, you know me. I'm very engaged. I get very engaged in a lot of different activities, a lot of different things that are happening in country. And there's one name that kept being circulated, man. It's a guy you got to meet him, man. He's doing some really good stuff. Really smart guy, man. Really doing some really interesting stuff, you know. And it was I'm okay. But then I go to one organization. He's on the board. He's doing different things, right? I go to another organization. He's on the board. He's doing different things. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's very much involved and engaged. Everywhere I turn, it's right there, right there. I'm like, man, this guy's about that action, right? And the thing is, if you're involved, you know about him, right? But he's in where he needs to be, right? And on top of that, he's worked briefly within the government as deputy chief within the Ministry of Planning, right? He's shared anecdotes with me where he's the misfortune of meeting with Martelly and had some interesting perspectives. We're gonna ask him about. He's someone who was sounding the alarm very early about Martelly and who he was, and the danger he posed, right? And even today, though he's stateside, he's still very involved within the administration of public life, working within the office of I'll ask him to clarify, but I believe he's working within in New York, working within the mayor's office or some extent like that, and still very much involved and still does very important write-ups. Whenever he drops a write-up, I'm reading it. It provides a lot of very important insights, right? So who is this person? This person is a fellow by the name of Johnny Celestin. And right there, probably half of you already say, oh, you got Johnny. Yeah, you should have said Johnny. You should have led with Johnny in the first place. What are you doing? So without much further ado, I'd like to bring on stage Johnny Celestin, good friend of myself, friend of the show, and friend of Haiti. How you doing, Johnny?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, brother Chris. How are you, man? Congratulations again, by the way. Second daughter, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm a
Very
girl.
glad.
I'm a girl. I have a girl, and you have
Yeah.
two. It's a blessing, my brother.
No, it's listen. I always say, listen. Obama had two girls, so I'm just following in great footsteps.
Indeed, indeed, indeed.
Kobe had several girls.
That's
So
right.
something about I hate to say it like that, but listen, great men tend to produce, God gives them the opportunity to protect and grow and
Absolutely,
provide them girls.
absolutely.
So so thanks, Johnny. I appreciate it. So before we go any further, I'd like the folks to get to know Johnny Celestin in his own words. Johnny, who are you? Where were you born in Haiti? I'm talking about. Let's go early. Where were you born in Haiti? Where'd you grow up? When did you come to America? And then talk about that transition in terms of informing yourself and ultimately creating yourself to be able to re-impact Haiti as you have been. So walk us through that, Johnny.
Sure, sure. Well, thank you again, Chris, for inviting me and inviting me to the show. I've been on a bit of a sabbatical, although between this conversation and last week, I feel like I'm breaking my sabbatical, and part of the reason why I wanted to take a sabbatical because I really wanted to write and think about the challenges that we're facing and how we as a Haitian community, particularly those of us living abroad, and those of us that call diaspora, what is our role? And so for me, I was born in Port-au-Prince. I grew up, we Monseigneur Guillou, for those who know it, en Bas-Mon-Nélieu, near the cemetery, near Stade Sidiocato. Came to the States at the age of 16. I've been living here for about 40 years, although I have to keep reminding myself, yes, I've been in the US for 40 years, but I spent a decade back in Haiti post earthquake. I went back to Haiti in 2010 and moved back here in 2020, in December of 2020, in the middle of Pays Lac. So just to go back, I've lived the typical immigrant life, um, experience all of the downs and the ups of being an immigrant in terms of the challenges that one faced. I faced quite a few of them. And still, one of the beautiful things about this country, and one of the reason why, despite its failings, I love it, it's because of the opportunities I've had. And I'm gonna go very quickly in terms of some of those opportunities. Obviously, I was I in my private sector life, I started working at Accenture back in those days, Anderson Consulting. I found myself being one of the first Black male to join the New York office in the change management practice. Of course, the change management often back in those days, which now is changed to human capital, was considered women work. Um, and I chose that path because I was initially on a technology path and realized how our limited focus on people did not, we could not achieve the goals that we had in terms of return on investment. And so I said I should focus on change management. And so I had that opportunity to work at Accenture for over 6 years. Left there as a manager. I then switched over, had the opportunity to switch over and to work in philanthropy. So I've worked in a number of large foundation, including the Robin Hood Foundation in New York, Atlantic Philanthropies. You might have read in the New York Times recently, Chuck Feeney, Mr. Feeney, who founded the foundation. He was the founder of when you go through the airport, you go to duty free. He was one of the co-founders of Duty Free, a multi billionaire who chose to give all of his wealth essentially while he was alive. He created this idea of giving while living. He passed away this month. Very influential man in my life. So I had the opportunity to work with him, for him. I worked for a few months at the Clinton Foundation post earthquake, so that they could pull their Haiti team together. So I saw how things were happening on the inside, and then subsequently got to Haiti immediately after the earthquake. I had started a foundation a fund at the Rockefeller Philanthropies Advisors, which was created by the Rockefeller Foundation, where we did a lot of work supporting farmers in particular, and cooperative more specifically. I felt that I could add value there in terms of both giving financial support, but more importantly, giving of my experience working with private sector companies as a consultant. And then subsequently, when that ended, I went to work at the Ministry of Planning, at the invitation of a former colleague of mine who had worked at Accenture, who was the chief of staff at the time. And so she invited me to come in as a consultant. And then when she moved on, went back to the States and left the ministry, I was asked to fill in the role as a deputy chief of staff there. And of course, quite a bit of experiences there. And we talked about this at previous interviews that you and I have had. I left that role and went to work for the Haitian Center for Leadership and Excellence, which is the first Haitian-based foundation that is focused on leadership development, particularly youth development, and more precisely in the rural and in the provinces, not necessarily in Port-au-Prince. We work in all 10 departments. Clay is still ongoing. I'm still a board member of Clay, and so the team is still rocking despite the difficulties, and I'm very proud of the work that they're doing. I am a board member of Soil up in Cap-Haïtien. I've been a board member for quite a number of years, working with that team. Very exciting work in terms of transforming waste into fertilizers, and really trying to, tackle the challenge of what do you do with human waste, which is a major challenge for the country. And then, of course, when I left Clay, I came back to the state, as I mentioned, in 2020, December 2020. I did a small stint at another leadership foundation here because the founder wanted to transition the foundation from a foundation with the staff running it to the members running it. So I did that transition for him in about 7 or 8 months. And then I joined the mayor's office. And so, which is where I am now. I am a deputy director within the mayor's office, and more specifically working in the mayor's office of minority and women-owned business enterprises, the MWBEs. Essentially, our charge is to really focus on policies that um, uh, ensures that the city's procurement process is inclusive, meaning that the city has a budget of 17 billion dollars. A good half of that is spent on really capital stuff that we can account for, but we're really talking about $60 billion that the city spends, and ensuring that women and minorities have a part of that business is our charge, both from a policy side, from putting out guidance, doing oversight of all of the city agencies, of which there are 45, 35 city-run agencies and 10 others that are both state-run and city-run, sort of hybrid. And so we are very much involved. I meet with all of them on a weekly basis. I run something that is called CompStat, really looking at the data of how they're doing in terms of engaging minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses, so that we can get to the 30% goal and beyond. And I also coordinate a group of agencies that are directly engaged in providing services to the asylum seekers, which is a major. I wrote a piece about this a few weeks ago. It's a major challenge for many cities, many progressive cities, and I want many of us who are progressives, who are pro-immigration, to think about what those things mean, what the implications of New York City having to spend almost $2 billion this year, and now having to cut services, having to freeze hiring, what the repercussions of that is, if we want to think about things on the long term. And so I wrote a piece about that to those of us who do think about immigration issues, to not only think about those people who are anti-immigration as xenophobic or racist, but to think about it from a citizen's perspective, to see how folks. I live in Harlem, and in the piece that the reason why the piece was important for me, I was standing on the platform, the train platform, and I heard two brothers, an older gentleman, talk about how he disliked. I say dislike, but he had stronger term for Hispanics who were taking the jobs of Black male, and how the school system failed Black people. So I wanted us to really come from a place of empathy to understand where he was coming from, not only from our own perspective. So, I'm a father of a girl, as you know, here, married, and very engaged in the community. I am a proud member of the newly found Haiti Policy House, which is a sort of a policy shop that I had been dreaming about for a very long time. And my dear brother Wolf Panfil took the lead on that, and I was very I'm humbled that the my fellow board members chose me to be the first chair of that board. So I'm involved in a number of other stuff, but I'll leave it to that, and engage in the conversation. And
No
thanks again.
problem. And I know, for example, the Haitian diaspora United Front. You were involved for very, very long. United Front for the Haitian diaspora, which I was involved in for a while too. So that's a quick notable mention. And I think as well, you were part of the let me see, the name. I'm slipping on the name. It's the group. Or there's recently a group for the. Let me see. The it's gonna bother me until I remember.
The Asian American Foundation for Democracy.
One led by I'm drawing a blank on her name as well. It was more or less a political action group ish, for one particular campaign about 2 years ago. Gosh, why am I not finding?
It's all right. I'll come back to you.
It'll
I'm
come. It'll come. It'll
doing
come
so
to us.
many things that I know.
Right, right. It'll come. It'll come to us. But
It'll
you were
come.
part of
It'll
that as well, which I was a part of. So we've been doing a lot. We've been doing a lot, and of course your background, of course, you know, um, as a prior consultant for business. Though for Accenture, was consulting business or was it consulting public entities? Like I know Accenture has a lot of different arms.
Yeah, no, it was
Um,
business. It was business.
business, right? So
Yeah.
business consulting, and then of course, transitioning to some of these, very well-known groups, including the Clinton Foundation, and then working with smaller groups, Soil, and now Mayor's Office and Haiti Policy House, which I didn't know you were involved in. I did see that recently start up. I think that's a very interesting concept. I thought when I first um, heard of it, didn't know you were involved, but I'm not surprised you're not, you're involved. Wherever there's real productive stuff happening. John
I
Celestin,
love
you're in
smart
the step.
people. I love
You're,
smart people, and
you're
particularly young smart people, which is what this group is about. I'm the elderly in the group. I'm the elder.
Johnny
So
Celestin is the Kevin Bacon of things happening productive in Haiti. He's not a degree free. He's always a degree freedom away at maximum.
yeah.
So again, happy to have you here, and happy to the folks understand your background and what you're bringing to the conversation. So so many places we can go with this, but really the first has to do with your time as a deputy chief, within the minister of planning, or just that whole tenure there, and it was under the Matsali administration, right?
Right. Laurent
And,
Lamont was the minister of that. That yeah.
and so I given what we just talked about, going into this, of course, it's a period of hope. It's right after the earthquake. It's a period of hope where we're seeing a lot of money coming in. A lot of Haitians are moving back. You moved back, of course, part of that wave of what we all hoped would be a new Haiti, right? A Haiti, a phoenix rising out of incredible misery. We would have never, in our wildest dreams, imagine in 2023 we'd have the Haiti we have in our hands right now. Um, Tell us about that time. When you were working in that office, um, some of the work that was being done there, right? And I guess when did it start to feel wrong? Like when did it start to feel like, wait a minute, hold on, it is what's going on here? This isn't like, and then of course, how did you try to? Because I know you, Johnny. You're not someone who just sits there and takes what you're seeing lightly. You tried A, you tried B, you tried C. Like, tell us all the maneuvering you try to do to kind of right that ship, and then finally, when you decided, like, okay, this ain't it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Walk us through that journey.
Yeah. Well, again, I started at the Ministry of Planning, like I said, as a consultant, and essentially part of the work that we were charged to do was to follow a lot of the projects that were being funded by the Petrocaribe Fund, right? And the idea was that we wanted the ability to kind of show what was happening. And one of the things, there were two things that really stands out for me. One is more pervasive, which is cultural, right? The first thing that I learned when I got there was the sense of how ingrained this culture of sort of when let's say chef, when you're in a position of power, your surrounding is essentially about people kind of pushing you to do things that often could be against your own values, right? Just regular people, like your driver wanting you to get a bigger car because that's his thing, right? He wants you to, or the people wanting you to have a bigger office, or you to sort of show your power publicly because it really reflects on them because they work with you or for you, right? So there's sort of that aspect in terms of how we culturally put people on a pedestal, and it's not a Haitian thing. It's really a result of when you're in positions of power, whether it is here in the United States or anywhere else. there's a sense of anything is allowed, everything is permissible, right? And that's something that you really need to have good grounding and good surrounding to kind of not fall into that trap. The other thing was I started to see how, as we were trying to do the monitoring and evaluation of these projects, there was a lot that we just could not put our arms around, information that we simply could not get. And it's interesting how what we know now in terms of what the reports have shown, when you ask for certain information, I remember a specific case where I'm looking for the contract, right? Because if I'm going to do an evaluation of this particular project, I need to understand what the contractual agreements were, right? And so when I went to the accountant who was responsible to keep track of that, he wouldn't give it to me. And now here I am, a deputy chief of staff.
Right.
I am multiple layers above him, reporting to the minister, asking an accountant, right, to give me an information, and he flat out say no. And no one could get him to give me the information. Now, when reports are coming out, right? Because when I was at the time seeing that, part of the rationale in terms of why no one could force him to give that information is because he was put in that role by a particular deputy, and that he was untouchable, right? So even the minister couldn't touch him.
Wow.
And the minister was just did not want to be involved in that conversation at all, right? And now one can see not only maybe the minister did not want, maybe was influenced because there was a deputy, but there might have been some arrangement that he also did not want, for me to discover, and for those of us who were doing those reports. And so it was really, the journey for me was one of discovery, right? Both in terms of how Haiti functioned, because I really got to travel the entire country as a result of reviewing those projects and seeing how, as a people, because of the exclusion that have existed through our society over its entire life, right? The maunage, the fact that people felt that saknavat masilig pumoy, I'm going to take what I can, right? Because I may not get anything else, is so pervasive in the society that that transformation that we need needs to begin at the bottom, needs to ensure that it is a grassroots conversation to say, we are going to have an honest change, an honest conversation about that, an inclusive change. And that's been my fight there and here. But so the work took me through better understanding Haiti and Haitians, my people in particular, but also understand government and the challenges of when you're trying to do the right things in government, you are faced with so many barriers. Some of them are internal, others are external, and quite often you don't know who's influencing whom, right? Is it, some of the private sector people who are powerful enough to get a minister to lose his or her job? Or is it because the minister, him or herself, is protecting his own back because he's involved in some nefarious things, right? So you never know where these things sit. And of course, the only way to get through that is through the transparency that I think we talked about earlier, that allows us to really get a better sense of what is happening. So for me, that journey was a really interesting one, an opportunity to a discovery for me to see Haiti in a different light, to see public service in a different light, to see the role of the citizen in a different light, and allowed me to kind of think about these things in a much more nuanced way that often may seem as if, one wants to be on this side or the other, with all sort of the lack of sort of the nuance I mentioned.
How long were you there? A couple
2 years.
months, a year, 2 years?
2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
Did you, in the level of 1 to 10, what was your level of, would you describe it as being dejected, disappointed? versus when you're going into it. I don't think anyone goes in to anything Haitian government with naivety thinking it's going to be, plum capes and lollipops. But was it, how bad was the going into it versus leaving? Like, how did you? What I'm trying to get at is, did you feel totally hopeless, or for the or did you leave with rays of hope, and what were those components of hope that you
Yeah,
left with?
yeah. Well, first of all, I went into Haiti, like many of us who went in 2010, really full of hope. Um, Not just hope, because I don't want to just sort of, kind of hope without action is useless, right? Um, I went into Haiti feeling quite confident that this was the moment, right? That we were going to, this was the time, if ever there was a time to change Haiti, that was it, because there was so much focus, so many resources going to Haiti, both financial and human resources, that I felt like we could do this. I went into government thinking the same thing. This was my opportunity to not just talk about it, but to really be involved and have an opportunity to kind of help, influence policies that would be better for Haiti. And I think to some extent, there's some of those things we've, I've seen that were positive. We quite often, in politics, it is always about, from the citizen side, is always about, what have you done for me lately? So quite often I think people are like, well, nothing happened, you know they've burned all the money, not a single road was built, not a single school was built. And I can say emphatically, because I was one of the people who were doing the monitoring and evaluation, that that's not the case, right? A lot happened. What lacked, however, is a real strategy in how to maintain. So you build a hospital and there is no way to kind of pay the doctors and ensure that it's functioning. You build a school, but there is no way to ensure that it has good teachers and it has all of the things that the classroom needs. You build a road, but there was no strategy around, was this the right place to build this road? Because there was a real study in terms of its economic impact, right? So why do I pick this road? Well, this road was built because there was someone with political influence that wanted it, and therefore it was built. Not necessarily because this is where goods need to move from north to south, from east to west, and we saw the value add for building this particular road, right? And so to some extent, I guess, I felt that, um, a lot of disappointment in that, the lack of the forethoughts or strategies on where we were going and things. But I didn't really hold, us any more of a higher standard than, I mean, I came here, I live in New York. I mean, we all remember the bridges to nowhere, right? Here going in Alaska. I mean, I live in New York, where, you know, um, my representative were some of the most powerful people in this country, right? And still, my community, particularly the Black community here, and specifically Black men, were experiencing 20 to 23, 25% unemployment, when the most powerful men, the chair of Ways and Means, was living 4 blocks from me. The governor was a Black man. All of my representative across the board were Democrats, and still my community did not get its bridge to nowhere. We got screwed. Right? So I was sufficiently involved and engaged in politics here to understand that this is not a Haiti specific things. We take it further. Ours is just raw. It's just in your face.
Mhm,
There's no covering it up. It's just
mhm.
like everything you just talked about, whether it is about Yuri, which I've had experiences with, whether it is about Martelly, which I've had one bad experience with because it happened to me once. And I said to the minister, I'm not ever going back to the to the palace because of the way that he treated people, and everybody kind of, ha ha ha, that's Martin Lee. And I was just like, oh my God,
Give us
right?
a quick cliff notes of that real quick. Just a little
A
quick.
flip note was
Uh,
there was there was a moment at which there were some projects that were pending and the payments were kind of, no one knew where they were in the process. So Martelly essentially just called all the ministers in the palace and said, y'all are gonna be here and you're gonna sit in this room and this is gonna be resolved tonight. And then he started making comments about their wives and about if they were not working fast enough, what he would be doing to their wives, right? And very stark and very, and it was, I mean, I never met the man any other time, right? I mean, obviously in the ministry I've seen him come in and out, but it was just shocking to me, right? I'm just not naturally not like, I mean, we all cuss, right? But like there's a time and a place. There's a
Wait,
decorum.
yeah, I'm sure nowhere else you've worked has that happened.
I mean, so I was just like, okay, I think I've had that once. I don't think I need to have it twice.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So okay, so you left. Your perspective was tempered by understanding of. I mean, I kind of get what you're going at. Someone who, if you haven't seen corruption in America, it's hard to understand, draw the parallels that you may see in Haiti. And the one I saw was in Chicago. I tried to open up a coffee shop next to it really was HBCU, Chicago State University. It was really in a specific corner where it would have been perfect, right? And that school did not have a coffee shop, and every other school did in the state, in the city. And did a real nice deep business plan. I had an SBA backer. We're ready to go. We had the funding, we had the business plan, everything was ready to go. I went to the owner of the building. I was pretty young at the time, 24, 25 years old. Number one, the owner of it was an older black couple. Okay. Number one, couldn't believe that a young black man was so well versed, so well prepared. I couldn't believe it. Thought actually that I had to, because apparently they were beefing with the alderman of that
Mhm,
ward that they were
mhm,
in.
mhm.
The alderman really wanted that a lot of land apparently, and they swore I was an agent sent by the alderman to come under and get access and take that land. And that's when it drove home to me, just the intertwining of business and politics and the corruptive element it was, that prevented, and ultimately we couldn't. It was about a year later they contacted us and said, well, over the year you have the best presentation of business ideas. Would you be interested? By then I was already leaving Chicago.
Mm,
I was moving on to the next project, the next thing, and really coming back to Haiti ultimately. So it's not until you get into those elements that really open your eyes and say, whoa, this is how it works in the real world, that it allows you to, when you get back to Haiti, you say, well, okay, Haiti is a much more spicy flavor of
mm,
something I've tasted already, right?
mhm,
I have to ask this, because a lot of the folks in this space that I've built, that has been built, in terms of wanting a better Haiti, and ultimately connecting the dots in terms of why Haiti has potentially is where it is. There isn't a good opinion on the Clintons, right? And the Clinton Foundation is a big source. It's like Infowars. It's like QAnon, right? It's a source of theory, conspiracy attaching, right? And I'm not here to judge these conspiracies. I don't peddle in conspiracies. That's why I don't think I've ever mentioned the Clinton Foundation ever, right? But my audience, has strong feelings for the Clintons and the Clinton. So I do want to take a moment. I'd be doing a disservice to them if I didn't give that opportunity to bring that up, and hear your perspective as someone who has worked, within. That's why I was so happy to have you on, because you're providing an inside, hands-on perspective of these things. Tell us about that. The Clinton Foundation? Do you feel they've done as much wrong as so many folks have attached to them? And is the feelings around them justified or not?
Mm, mm. Yeah. So I left the Clinton. I have to start with why I left, right? To put this into context. I was the first Haitian. They asked me, right? Someone from that office, someone recommended me, and they reached out to me and asked me to join the team to help them create this team on Haiti. Immediately after the earthquake, within months or within weeks, rather. And I went thinking that here's an opportunity to actually leverage the office of the President of the United States, right? The most powerful office in the United States, to do good for Haiti. And I left because what I realized is that when people talk about Clinton, they see the personality without realizing there are people behind that are actually doing the work, right? The Clinton Foundation, if there were 100 people within the Clinton Foundation, 80 of them were working really on the Clinton brand. Why? Because the Clinton bread and butter is giving speeches, writing books. That's where he makes the $100 million. And those people, some of them were not, particularly his chief of staff, were not as savvy, knowledgeable about Haiti, just really not knowledgeable overall to be doing development work. Because one of the weaknesses that I think a lot of politicians has, but the Clinton in particular have, is when they're with you, they're with you. And so this person who was leading as a chief of staff was someone who was an intern in their office, who had served and grew with the foundation. And when he was president, and when he left, a lot of the folks went with him. And this person grew in the organization and became chief of staff, but was not really prepared for that role. That person has since been pushed out when his daughter took over. What happened was that when the Clinton Foundation decided to take on this role, and they had multiple hats, right? Both at the UN, both within the foundation, both as co-chair of IHRC. The folks who were pushing this had a model. And the model that they had in mind was what they did in Banda Aceh. And for those who don't know about Banda Aceh, is when the monsoon came and wiped out the coast, right? The Clinton Foundation went.
Which country, by the way? Which country?
We are in Aceh. We are in Aceh.
The country called I never.
Yeah.
The country called Aceh.
Banda is yeah. Oh, it's in South Asia.
South Asia, okay, South Asian country.
Yeah, it's in South Asia.
I thought I knew about my geography, but okay.
Yeah. So when the Clinton Foundation went in, the coast was wiped completely, right? Because of the typhoon, not monsoon, the typhoon that really destroyed the coast. And just like Haiti, a lot of money went in, a lot of nonprofit, etc. And what they did was they worked with the government of Aceh, right? And help facilitate the relationship between NGOs, government in Indonesia. Thank you. NGOs, government, and in the state, right? They wanted to apply the same model to Haiti. What they never acknowledge is that
we're not Indonesia.
We're not Indonesia, right? We didn't have a central government. The good people who were in government, most of them died. We had no good leadership. And what ended up happening was that the Clinton Foundation got thrusted in the leadership role of trying to pull this together, essentially displacing the government, not because they wanted to, because they were actually, as a result of our people not stepping up, had to fill in the gap, right? So that's the first thing one needs to understand, right? The second thing is, just like our people on the ground in Haiti failed in terms of leadership for their own country, we in the diaspora, I remember a very specific example when President Clinton was having his first meeting with the NGOs here in New York, and he was having it at his office. And I was charged with trying to, coordinate people who were coming in, etc. There were not a single Haitian NGO or nonprofit on that list. Now, I'm connected with a lot of nonprofits here in New York City. I can tell you, Chris, I reached out to every single person that I knew, and I said, this is coming down. I need you to write me and tell me that you heard that the Clinton Foundation is going to have this event. You want to be part of it. You know how many email I got?
I'm assuming.
You assume right. Okay. And you know what happened at the end? Only one Haitian organization got invited, and that was the Yele Foundation.
Oh, wow. You know how that turned out.
Now, we're going to say, on the outside, everybody's going to say the Clinton Foundation had a big event in New York City and they didn't invite a single Haitian nonprofit organization. Right? So I realized that I was in a position where I could not internally change things because there was already a path, right? That I was not powerful enough to change. The only way I could change it was to have outside influence pushing in. They were not influencing. And so I left. Right? Now, there are a lot of other things that people think about the Clinton Foundation. There is an assumption out there that the Clinton Foundation stole the billions of dollars that we're giving to Haiti. And I've shared this, and I'm not here to defend the foundation, but I think the facts are there. If people go and see how the IHRC was running, or how the money to Haiti that was promised, most of it was not given. What was given was put in a fund that was held by the World Bank. The chair of that, they had a separate board, which included all members who give $2 million or more. So of course, the Red Cross was on it, and all the single governments were on it. And of course, every single government was fighting for their project from their countries to be funded, right? So it's essentially, really, it was sort of, yes, we're going to pull our funds together to make it look good, but what we're going to do is ensure, and everybody scratch each other's back, my money goes to fund my project for my country, your money goes to fund your project for your country, right? Now, the idea that people have that someone, a former US president, hated by the Republicans, could go and steal billions of dollars from Haiti for their own personal use. Billions that included money, tax money from France, from Germany, from Japan, from Brazil, from the idea that another government would allow the Clinton Foundation to steal their money and they just kind of like, okay, is ludicrous on its face, right? So now people talk about the fact that the Clinton Foundation, President Clinton, asked for forgiveness because of the decision that he made when he pushed for the rice to go to Haiti. And as a human being, I think that was the right thing to do. What we also need to take into consideration is to remember President Clinton represented the United States of America. President Clinton was the governor of Arkansas. Arkansas' main production is rice. If you know anything about politics and business, to get into politics, you need funding. Your funding comes from those business interests. You push their interests. So it's nothing personal when a president is pushing for the interests of his country. It is your country, like the Dominican Republic next door, who is rice independent. They were also, right, controlled by the United States. And yet, they were like, you know what? Rice is a major staple of our country. We're going to produce it. And you know what the international community said? Okay. Right? So we could go through a lot of that, but I think for me, the lessons that I've learned throughout this time, there is so much power that we have seeded. And we sort of say, well, the international community want X and we're going to do it. No, we don't. I have sat in those rooms and seen Haitians say no, but they only do it when it's in their own interest, not the country's. And you know what the people on the other side realize? You're not in this for Haiti. You're in this for yourself. So they're going to play you.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
So I've learned all of these things, and fortunately, I was able to kind of sit. I left the Clinton Foundation on that side. I went to work as a volunteer for the Ministry of Social Affairs in Haiti on the other side, representing the Haitian government at IHRC
Mhm. Mhm.
as a volunteer,
Mhm.
right? So I had the opportunity to sort of sit on one side, seeing how the IHRC was being created by the Clinton Foundation, to then be on the other side, representing the Haitian government, to see our lack of leadership on the other side of it, right?
And like, oh, it makes sense now. Oh, okay, I see why. You're trying to, do work, and accountants appointed by deputies won't let you, and everyone's complicit. And so you see the interest driven nature of the Haitian government internally, and seeing why, the, the Clinton Foundation and other interests are able to get what they want done. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
uh,
but the thing is, I have also seen us say no. And I've seen us say no throughout times, not just me on the inside, but whether it was the revolution, whether it was 1915, whether it is today, right? With KPK,
mhm,
right? Nobody wants it, but we're doing it.
we're doing it.
And
And
when we want to do it, we do it.
mhm,
What happens, however, unfortunately, is that, as is happening now with KPK, is that our leadership, our elite, our economic elite, our political elite are using it, want to use it for their own purposes, but not necessarily to strengthen it, right? Use this opportunity to make a major transformation. And so at every time, we are the ones who undermine our own movements. And then we turn and say, well, the Blanc did this. I'm at the place and I tell everybody, the Blanc has been the Blanc since the Blanc was Blanc. The systems that have been put in place, I should get this book and show it to you. That, and I've written about this, the economic theories, the models that they've applied towards Haiti, Henry the 14th has applied the same theory. England applied it against Spain, against Italy, against um, um, Holland, right? The theory has been the same against everybody. You add a little sprinkle of racism to it, it takes a different little flavor, but the theory at its base has been there for hundreds of years,
which is
which is the fact that they're going to leverage what they have to bring production on their side and have you
the consumer.
exporting,
The consumer.
yeah,
We produce, you consume.
yeah,
Yeah,
right,
that's what. In fact, knowing history, yeah, that's what the UK and France they always structured their empires in that way, where the production stays on territory, and then you know the empire it
they
consumes.
extract resources and
Yeah,
they bring those, they do the transformation,
transform
and
and
then they
then
send it
resell
back to
it.
you.
Hmm.
Whether it is the chocolate that we take
Yeah.
in from Ghana,
Hmm.
the country that makes the best chocolate in the world, number one is Italy, number two is Holland, number three it's Switzerland.
None of them have
None
chocolate
of them have cocoa.
farming operations. Funny how that works. Funny how that works, right? And I think right now in Haiti, it's right now, and we're exporting ourselves, our human capital are being exported, and because of the livability and the open doors of these other countries, and you know, and then what comes back is again what our own laborers are producing,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I think that's incredible insight, Johnny. I thank you for that, and I think the folks who are listening really should really listen to that aspect, which is at the end of the day, unfortunately, these entities will work towards their own interests, and at the end of the day, within the diaspora have to work towards the interests of Haiti, and it's on us to push, organize, do what we need to do to get that. And I think the Haitian diaspora isn't a unique, at least those in America, a unique position, because if we organize, if we, and I think that's one thing you've been always very much involved on is organizing those within America to be able to be involved politically and to put pressure politically on key members of Congress. Do you agree with that still? What is the most effective way, do you feel, that the Haitian diaspora, and particularly those in America, can impact Haiti? Is it kind of my vision, which is, working on towards being economically sufficient and being in part of Haiti in the territory, or do you feel, we're just talking not individual, but just as a group, should we be more focused again on the home front and influencing from the home front, or is it a mix? What's your thoughts?
Yeah. So before I answer that question, I just want a quick flag for the book that I mentioned about sort of the
Okay.
economic theory, the new economic theory. It's a book written by Eric Reinhardt. He is a Norwegian or Swedish, I think Swedish economist.
Mhm.
And he wrote this book, How Rich Countries Got Rich and Why Poor Countries Stay Poor. And in fact, Haiti's actually, and he talks about Haiti in that book as well.
Mm.
And I really always try to go back and read history to better understand where we are. And this book really kind of opened my eyes in terms of the economic models that so-called advanced countries use to continue sort of their power, to sustain their power. So to the question of involvement of the diaspora. So it's a twofold thing, right? And I don't know, I don't like to get caught in the what comes first kind of thing, right? Because I think they both have to happen at the same time in different tracks. I think that Haiti's got to get its shit together, meaning Haitians and Haiti. Nothing that we can do in the diaspora will make a difference if Haitians and Haiti don't get their shit together. At the end of the day, right? Net. If whether, and people like to take Israel as example or India as example of where diasporas have really galvanized, but we can supplement, and we are a huge supplement, an important supplement to what the country wants to do, what its economic and political, what its elite writ large wants to do, right? So if you don't have a partner in Haiti that wants that change, there is absolutely nothing on the outside that you can do, except maybe, if you see other places where external forces come in. We tried it in Haiti. We had Cubans who tried it in Cuba to overthrow, the Castros there, et cetera. They always fail, but outside of that, so you go and take that over. And if you want to take it over, you have to go to Haiti to take it over, right? You can't kind of do it remotely. So the two things have to happen in parallel, and they can kind of influence one another or play on one another. And this is why I don't want to say, fall into the which one comes first trap. Is that if we are organized, if we understand the dynamics of what's happening in Haiti and how what happens here influences Haiti, then we absolutely can be a force. So the work that you're doing, for example, is extremely important in terms of bringing change to Haiti. So you were talking about the business that you have right now, and people don't understand how important that is. And here's why. When you think about people complaining about rice production in Haiti, the prism that people use is that American dumped their rice in Haiti. And it's a true fact that the biggest export of America's to Haiti is rice, right? But when you look at the data and when you look at how we have a moribund economy, 50% of people can barely eat. Unemployment is 30, 35%, probably higher. The diaspora plays an oversized role in Haiti's economy. $3.2 billion went to Haiti as remittances. Haiti's budget is less than $2 billion, right? 3.8 billion dollars went to Haiti as of last year from the diaspora. People, in as much as states and government and people are also self-interested, right? So what tends to happen, people will say, if I'm going to send $100 to Haiti, I want that $100 to go as far as possible. And what that means is that rather than buying locally produced goods, which may cost slightly higher, I will buy that Indian 20 bag of rice. But when you do that, what you do is extract the cash that should be circulating in the country, you send it to India. So what you're doing is saying, I am making available Haitian rice, and right now you're doing it for the diaspora. Ideally, what should be happening is that we should be exporting our rice because Haitians here love that rice. Those who want it should be able to have access to it. But in as much as we possibly can, we should be encouraging. So one next step for your business is that rather than just importing the rice from Haiti, you should also have the opportunity to say to Haitians who are here, guess what? Rather than you, like you used to do in the past, with Unitransfer income, instead of spending money, sending the money, you can actually send rice. We do that. You can go to CAM or you can go to the transfer and send rice to Haiti, which is the bongo rice, which is the bongo rice that, this guy is using to get money to pay gangs and buy weapons and buy ammunitions. You could say, I'm going to spend a little bit more. I'm going to pay Jeanty from the US. He won't have to deal with shipping all of that rice to Miami or to New York. He can have some of that rice being purchased for my family in Haiti.
That is a good idea. I'm going to jot that down. We'll work on that.
Right? It's a virtuous cycle. It's a virtuous cycle in that the country benefits, but we are so narrowly focused on the other that we've lost sight of the self. We are so focused, the blanc, that we've lost sight of our own agency. And that's been my fight. That, yes, they are there. Yes, they will influence. You need to take that into consideration. However, it cannot be the only focus of our conversation, of our strategies. We need to shift and think about, what are we doing? Right? And President Kagame gave an interview on Al Jazeera a couple of weeks ago where, he was talking about how Africa cannot always be looking at the other. Like, what is our role? What is our responsibility? Professor Lumumba talk about the same thing. Are we keep electing the same wrong people? What is our responsibility? So that's kind of my, and this is, you're hearing a reflection of my pause over the last month or so to kind of think about these issues. They're not completely fleshed out because I really have to continue to think about it. But that's really where I am. I want to acknowledge the influence that the international community has, will continue to want to have. And anybody who thinks that the US or the Dominican Republic next door is not going to try to influence your internal politics or economy would be crazy, because it's in their interest to do so. But it has to be in the context of, what am I doing for me?
Let's talk about that government piece, right? The Haitian government piece. I knew we worked close together, particularly for the United Front during a period where I remember we met at your place. A lot of the leaders had flew in, and there was a strategy, a desire to engage with some of the, because the United Front was very focused on, the Haitian diaspora rights, elections, votes. I remember though you were bearish, right, on engagement, right? I'd love to explore a little bit to understand, um, knowing your history. Was it because of what you had seen and understanding the multiple factors that were involved that perhaps you knew there wasn't a real authentic way to engage? What I'm trying to get at is, what are our chances legitimately as a diaspora to impact that change we need from the government perspective? How do we go about doing it? Is it negotiating at the right time? Is it doing some other activity? So how do we go about assisting that government change that we need to see in Haiti?
So I'll just use one example, right, of something that is practical today that one can narrowly focus on in the context of longer term change. Political engagement is fundamental. As a business person, but also as a citizen, you have to know this. Whether it is the change that you want to see in your neighborhood, trash pickup, a new stop sign, a new school, a new bus route, not having another bus depot in your neighborhood, or not having, etc. Right? You need to engage with elected people. So politics, and I'm saying this because quite often we shy away from that. Politics is in everything, and we cannot run away from politics, right? You don't necessarily have to be a politician to be involved in politics, right? So one example is, as you know, Judge Lionel Jean-Baptiste and others work tirelessly, advocated tirelessly to the change that we got in the Constitution in 2010, which is dual nationality. And I know there are other groups today who are leading the fight against Ariel Henry, who want to go back to the 1987 Constitution, right? Which essentially would take us back in terms of what the fight we've won,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Now, why do I say this is an important narrow focus? Is that we won this fight. I don't care what people say about, there was problem with when they, they made the constitutional amendments or whatever it is. I'm being narrowly focused and selfish here and says, as a diaspora person, once that law passed, the first thing I did was to go get my passport. So I have my Haitian passport back. I have my national ID card. I voted in Haitian elections. And the narrow place that we could make a difference is to build on that win. Building on that win means we have dual nationality today in the Constitution, which was illegal in the past. In the past, if you became a US citizen or some other citizen, you automatically lost your Haitian citizenship. We got that back. We need to build on that. And building on that means we need to be advocating for putting the processes in place so we can vote from afar, meaning from wherever we live, meaning that you don't have, if you're a Haitian American, or even just a Haitian, forget even a Haitian American, if you're a Haitian with, a Haitian passport, that means you have a green card, you can't vote in Haiti, right? That needs to change.
So how
People,
do we go about that?
that's the advocacy
That
part.
engagement. So what's the point of engagement? If is it directly communicating activism, right?
Mhm.
Activism strategy,
Mhm.
directly going at these politicians whenever we do get elected politicians in a functioning parliament in Haiti? Is it directly going that route, or is it some other more robust strategy? What would you advise? What would you?
Yeah, no, there's multiple ways of getting at this,
Mhm,
right? Business
mhm,
interests can get at this, citizens can get at this, but it's certainly activism and advocacy, right? If we are going to engage with U.S. government on policy issues, this is one of the policy issues from a diaspora perspective that should be number one on the agenda for us to say, we here talk about going back to the 1987 Constitution. It is a non-starter for us. What we want is we want to build from there. So if we're going to revise the Constitution, we could do a revision of the Constitution, not based on 1987, based on the changes that happened in 2010, and go from there. Because you can build on what you have, but if they take it away from you, to bring it back is going to be a lot harder. Now, if I'm doing my advocacy, it's going to be number one, anybody who's talking about going back to 1987 is a non-starter. We want to build from what we currently have, which is the right for us to be Haitian, to have Haitian citizenship. Number two, whatever conversation is going to have about the Electoral Council, we demand that the processes be put in place for Haitians living wherever they are to be able to vote. You in DC, you in Virginia, you in Florida, you in Chicago, you in New York, you in Boston, either in your consulate. I live in New York, right? When there's elections in the Dominican Republic, I live close to Washington Heights. It's as if elections from the Dominican Republic was happening here in New York. There are voting sites in our public schools in my neighborhood where Dominican can go vote in Dominican Republic's elections. But we, for some reason, so anyway, to go back to the thing, so that's what I would advocate for, because I think you cannot affect change if you don't have the ability to vote. That's number one. That ability to vote by that huge population that is living outside of Haiti opens the door for different types of elected officials,
mhm.
right? So if you believe that only Haitians in Haiti can vote, I got to tell you, we are effed. Okay. So, because inevitably, and what's happening now, the US is kind of cleaning out the system, despite many of us hating them for doing this, and many of us wanting them to do more, and we want them to do more. What I know about the American system is that there's a method to their madness, is that it takes time, and sometimes it looks like nothing is happening. But if we take like what's happening to President Trump as an example, you see what they're doing in Atlanta, right? You have one, two, three people that reach deal, right? Who are now going to be testifying, right? For the state. So just like they do with the mafia, they don't go after the head immediately. They go after,
Number two, number three, number four, number
number
five.
five, and then they walk their way up. But
Right.
for us, we want it to happen now, now, now. They were coming after, so they're creating the opportunity for us to change Haiti if we choose to take advantage of that.
Right.
But they're not going to do it for us.
Okay. So I hear what you're saying. So it's definitely, this is an opportunity. We have to hop on this, and however we, I say we, individual actors, there's certain things we should agree on as a priority. But it sounds like you are okay with that engagement, so long as we're aligned as a diaspora group in terms of what those priorities are. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay. All right.
That's fair.
So I think this has been enlightening in so much of your perspective of what you have seen, what you experienced. Do you still? One last question I want to ask, and then I want to. I'll look through the comments and see if there's any questions that anyone wants to ask before I let you go. But today, 2023, given everything you've seen from, I tell you what, from 2017, I've seen such a change, a difference negatively in my country. It is heart-wrenching to see, because 2017 is when I really started to engage in Haiti, being there full time. See where we are today, where quite frankly, one of my biggest dreams and desires were those two daughters that are just born. There's in every universe that I could have imagined, they would have been born in Haiti. They're not, because of the fact that there was a real possibility at the time where my wife was in labor. It could have been Pays Loc, because I lived so many Pays Locs, and I saw how, and it happened where mothers couldn't get to the hospital, right? Because the roads were, and I'm not even talking about insecurity. That's not even the thing that concerned me. It was the fact that any moment civil society would manipulate the masses to completely embargo their own country, right? And so that to me is a tremendous loss, that I didn't feel comfortable, in addition to insecurity, to allow my daughters to be born in Haiti. They're going to be very involved. Trust me, I already work on getting their passports. They're going to be in the nitty gritty of knowing their country and knowing who they are. But that's 2017, to see, when I first got in there, the real possibility of spending the rest of my life in Haiti, and then very quickly how it turned to where, as a responsible adult raising a family, it didn't make sense to have them there at the moment. I think you can relate to that, right?
I can.
But you were there even longer, 2010. How do you still have hope for Haiti?
I do.
And ultimately, where does that hope?
I do.
Where do you see it? Where do you see it going? 10 years from now, how do we get there? I know you alluded to it with some of the things you just mentioned, but expound on that.
I do. I think that the see what's happening now. The people have always been on the bleeding edge of the movements, and unfortunately, those of us with the means have not followed suit, right? I think what's happening, the signal that Wanamet has sent, it's not just the canal, right? It's not just the canal. I mean, I think there's a focus on the canal, which is important, right? But it's not just the canal. It is the possibility. So as an example, right, I was having an exchange, well, I'll say his name because I don't think he'll be offended by this, with Brother Firmin, right? And Brother Firmin's always been advocating, forget Port-au-Prince. Port-au-Prince is not Haiti. There are other places. The rest of the country is fine. We have marginal disagreement on that, right? Because my view is that if you expand in the provinces and ignore Port-au-Prince, son maling li pral progresser quand même. So eventually it's going to get to you, because not tackling the problem will only
I agree with you. I mean, I agree. Even 2017, it was, watch out for Matissa, watch out for Soleil, and it's grown. Watch out for Torcel, which grew to all of Pelerin, which, watch out for that one spot in La Bouldouz. Now so if you ignore one spot, it's going to perverse and go everywhere, and that's been the case. So I agree with you. You can't just cannot just ignore.
So that said, I do believe what this offers is an opportunity to in fact begin a transformation from outside in. And what I mean by that is, yes, because we realize that we cannot have everything. And by the way, it's already in the Constitution. There's nothing we need to change in terms of deconcentration, right, of power in Haiti. It is in the Constitution today. If we apply the Constitution today as it is written, we wouldn't have Port-au-Prince having central power on everything.
Yeah.
And so I'm beyond sort of like that debate, because it's already settled, right? What's missing is the will, and the political will in particular. And what I see is an opportunity to say, why can't we, right, focus on these pockets of opportunities to begin that transformation there? And I think that's what Wanamet offers, is to see the lens of, we can actually begin to tackle these challenges from other places. We can also be more proactive. A lot of people are focusing on Cap Haitien. If we continue this way, Cap Haitien will become Port-au-Prince. right? Cap Haitien can't take any more people. And the more urban it gets without an uncontrolled urbanization with rooted poverty, it equals to
Matter
the
of time.
problem we see.
Matter of time.
So we know. This is what drives me crazy. We know. We've seen the movie multiple times. So I'm the positivist in me, and what I'm continuing to write about and challenge my peers and fellow advocates is to think about a transformation from the outside in, right? If we agree, and sometimes I know, and I'll end on this, I have a lot of disagreement with fellow advocates and some activists around, the central government, or whether it is, Ariel Henry, etc., and how to overthrow and all that kind of stuff. Let's put those aside. I always get to the point where I say, I don't even disagree about your approach. If you're saying Ali has to go, transition has to take place, etc., I'm not even disagreeing with that. What I'm looking for is a more positivist approach. What are you going to do? Right? Let's assume that we all agree 100% on what you just said, the person in front of me. We don't disagree. Let's not waste our time on the disagreement. I agree with you. What are we going to do? Right? And I am saying, as an offer, to say to folks what we should be doing, what we could be doing, right? If you think about what's happening where the people say the border's not opening, that is, I studied international affairs. It is a huge deal, the fact that the people said that the border will not open and it doesn't. This is not an affair of the people. It is a state's affair. What it shows is the absolute failure and complete destruction of the state. What
Yeah.
that does, however, right, on a positive side, it opens up opportunities to say the mayors could take on their own responsibilities. The departmental heads could take on their own responsibilities. The elite in Cap, in Kai, in Jeremy, in For Liberté can take on their own responsibilities and not focus on what is Port-au-Prince doing. But we, again, would rather sort of shift our focus and say, Port-au-Prince is a problem. And I'm suggesting to everybody, let's not, Port-au-Prince is a problem, but let's not focus on Port-au-Prince as the problem. Let's focus on the opening that you have to take on the power that is given to you. We live in Haiti is a country with 12 million people with 5,000 active police officers. They can't take on everybody.
Yeah.
With 200 gangs. So do what you need to. So that's what I told Brother Fiume. I said, Brother Fiume, don't tell me about Port-au-Prince. Show me what you're doing in Cap.
Mhm.
Just do what you need to do in Cap so that Cap can be the example. Do what you need to do in For Liberté. Do what you need to do in Kai. Right? So that's for me, that's the hope that I have, that awareness will click and that people will say, you know what? Fuck Port-au-Prince.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do what I need to do
take
over
our
there.
region, and then let's push that region. Let's develop as far as we can. And
That's it, man.
yeah. Mhm.
That's
Okay,
it.
all right. I'll take that hope. I want to be respectful of your time, but I do want to grab a question or two from the channel. And basically, I saw one sort of repeating there from Chris, more or less saying, you know, you taking a leadership role. You have a lot of experience, a lot of connections, right? I think this comment, guys, placed you in several rooms for a reason. Lead the way. Diaspora will support you. So, what are your thoughts, Johnny, in terms of? I personally think you're ready for taking a leadership role, particularly with the Haitian policy organization you're a part of. Maybe that's the answer, or do you think maybe from the grassroots, starting from something completely from scratch, and pushing some of these policy suggestions you've wanted? Do you agree with that, or do you think you have it already? What's your
You
response?
know what? I'll tell you this, and thank you for the suggestion, Chris. And my dream when I was in Haiti, my wife and I bought a little piece of land in the south of Haiti, and where we are going to make our retirement home, not too far from Jacmel. And one of the things that I always dreamt about was to become the mayor of a small town, because it reminded me of some things that we saw in Costa Rica, uh, the mayor of a small town, rural areas, and to be able to teach in the university in Jacques Bell, right? That was my aspiration. So I don't really have any political ambition. And I think one of the things about politics that I've seen around the people that I've seen in the people that I've been around is that you have to want politics is that you have to want to be in that, right? That said, I would never rule out any opportunity to serve my country, but it's not a driving motivation in my life. Um, um, but I think that, given the right circumstances with the right team and the right group of people that can come at a particular problem that we can resolve together, there will be room for me to play a part. It's just that I've never really had that aspiration. So, but it's never, again, Chris, it's never outside of the realm. I'll say, if you could just add my LinkedIn, where I write a lot, which is, on LinkedIn, I'm Johnny.
You can
Yeah,
type.
Johnny.
You can type it,
Celestin.
and then I'll
Sure.
highlight it. Yeah,
Johnny Celestin.
Mhm.
So I think I'm the only one on Johnny Celestin. JOHNNY.
Okay.
So
your name.
like my name is
Johnny Celestin in LinkedIn. Okay.
in LinkedIn. Yeah.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I want to do, there's a lot of organizations. My dream and my push for the next iteration of the work that I do is many of those diaspora organizations that I'm connected one way or another with, is to bring those leadership together, because there has to be a collective effort on one or two things. We don't need to have an agreement on everything. Thank you, SeeJeanty. We don't have to agree on everything, but we had to find the two, possibly three things that we agree on. And everybody can still do their thing. But if we agree to collectively go after these three top things, right? I think our ability to vote in the next election is one of them, right? And I don't know what the other two might be. Then we can sort of focus on those things together and really achieve it collectively. So yeah. But thank you for the question, Chris.
I had there's another question from the private WhatsApp group that I thought was interesting. Basically, what is your perspective as it relates to President Jovenel? Right. Let me grab the question so make sure I got it right. Here we go. Should we in the diaspora have provided more support to Jovenel?
I think Jovenel did himself a disservice. You might have remembered a piece that I wrote. If I were a speechwriter for President Jovenel, what I would have said. Right. I think that President Jovenel realized very late what he got into. And I think that's part of the problem of people who are not equipped for politics, who go into politics. And that wouldn't be the problem. The problem is not only are they not equipped, they don't have a team. Right. When you look at people who are running for office here, when they're running for office, they already know. Yeah. They know who can play. They have advisors in health and roads and education. And so they know who they want to put in place, which is why you always see the process within 100 days, they have the people in office and making it happen. They don't place a job description on LinkedIn or Indeed, right? They know. And some of it will be political patronage, but political patronage has to be accompanied with people with competencies, right? And so I think one of the challenge and one of the reasons why I couldn't support Jovenel, even though late in the game he realized what he got into, he cut a deal with the devil, and then he realized the devil will eat you. Dil bonjour la bonjour, pas dil bonjour. And so his language became very, that's something that's in us. He became very adversarial, as opposed to when you in a fight, right, against a bigger, stronger, sometimes what you need to do is not posturing, is to pull back, right? Solidify your strength, solidify. If he had gotten the people behind him, I think he could have achieved a lot. I think he did realize what he was into and he wanted to make a change. He realized it too late, one, but also he was involved in too many other things. He and his family were involved in too many other things, which sapped his credibility. I couldn't support him because I knew some of the things that he was doing and could not trust that he was in the best interest. Sometimes you slow your roll, you're gonna get more at a later time than if you try. And again, it's that mentality. So he was trying to get it all up front. And then when he wanted to put change, people were looking at him like, wait, weren't you the one that got this contract and that contract and this? And now you want to tell me I can't get contract? I don't think so. You know, but I do. It's unfortunate. I mean, I don't think any president should die in office. In the last piece I wrote, the history of president being deposed and killed, in our country is despicable and unacceptable. Political disagreement shouldn't be every single time we have to overthrow a government, every single time we have to kill a president. We need to learn to work our way through the process.
Right. And vote them out. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So no, this has been very enlightening. We've certainly, I had you on for almost an hour plus, hour and a half maybe. So thank you, Johnny. I think our folks who've listened, certainly I hope gain quite a bit from it. I'm going to have you back on. The next big thing that may have happened, I'm going to have you back on to provide your critique and analysis. I think it's very important for us to have, because I can say it one way, but having someone with your experience, it's just important to provide that different perspective. A lot of times I haven't agreed with what you said, but it's not about agreeing. It's about seeing the value of what's being said.
I'm not always right either.
and moving forward with that added bit of knowledge, added bit of perspective, right? And that's what we really have to be able to do as Haitian people, to say, all right, I don't agree with what you're saying. Maybe I agree with most, but in the few things I don't, okay, cool. But still, let's move forward on what we do agree on, our variants of the solution, and we'll make it happen. So thank you so much, Johnny. Any final words you can partake and leave us with?
I would only say, for those folks who follow your show, Chris, two things. Number one is really try to inform yourselves, because I think my daughter reaches out to me all the time. She follows a particular handle on, maybe is it called handle on Instagram, and then she'll always come and check with me and say, Dad, is this correct and is that correct? And I say, yes, but here's the context for this, to give her the understanding. And I would just suggest for folks to really try to read from different perspectives to understand what's happening. There's no single story, right? There's multiple sides. Nothing is black and white. So it's always important to kind of figure out, is what I just saw on X or on Instagram or on Facebook truly what's happening? Because I think often there's a lot of inflammatory things. I think you mentioned, you're not one of those people, right?
No.
So these guys really foment the kind of inflammatory comments that get hits, but doesn't necessarily inform the audience. So I strongly suggest that people should do that. The second thing is, either if you're doing this directly, or if your family, family members, the work that Chris is doing, and others. I mean, I think there are others who are also doing this, who are importing from Haiti, who are trying to really support the local economy. There is nothing more important than the economy. People will accept just about, people don't care in general, population, if they feel safe, if they can take care of their families, if politicians are doing their things, as long as they have a good life. Kagame is a great example of that. The fact that he's delivering, they just keep putting him in power because they like what he's doing. People don't care about this essence of how we think about democracy here in the United States or in the West, right? But the economy.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that you can affect that economy is to consume what is made in Haiti and ensure that money cycles through at least 7 times, like the Jewish thing says, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least 7 times in your community before it leaves, right? Because it creates wealth. And that's the way that we can transform the country. So I encourage you, brother, for what you're doing. I really, I say thank you. And I got to make sure I check out your site and buy some stuff from you, because I think that's one way to help Haiti. It is the most important way to help Haiti, is through the economy, because that's the way people make a living, and then they can then begin to sort of get involved in other things.
Absolutely. Johnny, sir, thank you. You're a scholar, you're a gentleman. Thank you so much for your time today. I learned a lot. My audience learned a lot. Stay safe. Salut familia. And we'll talk again offline very soon.
All right. Ciao.
Take it easy, Johnny. Ciao. That was Johnny Celestin, guys. I promised you a good conversation, didn't I? Didn't I say you wanted to stay tuned? I said it. Se ba bluff se ba smoke na muda ya ba boy, see, it's the real. When I tell you to stick around for a good guest, stick around for that good guest. Johnny was just that. Incredible pedigree. Someone who isn't just throwing things on what they've heard, on X. He's someone who's been a part of organizations and entities, and so when he provides a perspective, it's from experience. And so it was great to have his have his input in the conversation we had today. This is what we do here at SeeJeanty. We provide a deeper, different perspective on Haiti. I don't. No one else is doing what we're doing, and doing it in a language where folks across the world can hopefully understand and appreciate and participate in. So if it's your first time, if you're just scrolling through and you stumbled into this channel, please do yourself a favor, do us a favor, join it. If you really appreciate this, join it. Hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, ding that little notification button too when we come online, so you don't miss the conversation in real time. But of course, this will be recorded and you'll be able to watch it, and also if you came in later in the conversation, I think in about 30 minutes to an hour, it'll be processed, and then you'll be able to go back and rewatch it, right? So, definitely ensure that also this conversation perhaps is shared. If you really enjoyed this conversation, share it. Think of a person or two who could have appreciated this dialogue, and send it the way. We want to watch this. It's kind of long, but while you're biking, while you're doing lawn work at the house, listen to it. Because I think at the end of the day, what's the point of having these conversations if not enough folks are listening to it? So help us help by, I'm seeing 60 plus folks in the channel. Let's get 60 plus shares out there. So this information that we excavated today gets out and really starting that snowball to start growing and start impacting Haiti, right? Per usual, I'm going to share some links with you on my way out here. Some of the things that were being talked about, for example, the Haitian Jonjon rice, the boule chocolat that all is coming out of Haiti, right? I didn't go through some of these other things. The cassava out of Okap, right? Right? The Jonjon, the 100% Haitian Jonjon, right? All 100% out of Haiti, 100% we're buying from producers in the country. Make sure to visit that link. You'll find it on Amazon within a day to 2 days. They'll be sent to your home. Try it, leave a review, leave an honest review. Hopefully you do like it. Give us 5 stars. It will help the algorithm of Amazon do its thing and get and push it out there. And for sure, I do recommend as well a lot of the things we talked about. We do have a book here, 101 Ways to Make Money in Haiti. Because again, the economics is important, and you within the diaspora, or you watching, at the end of the day, when we do have a much safer security situation, the only way out for Haiti is its economics. We interviewed a lot of different people. We have a lot of different concepts, a lot of different positive case studies of businesses that have done well in that book, and really a walkthrough in terms of how you can yourself be successful. The book's available right now on Amazon. So feel free. You'll find it if you go to SeeJeanty.com/shop. Let me drop that in right here in the chat. SeeJeanty.com/shop. You see the book in addition to a few of our in branded products. So feel free and check that out. If you like what we got going on here, you really want to support beyond the share. Really, the best thing you can always do is share what you just watched. But if you really want a more hands-on involvement in what we got going on here, we have a private WhatsApp group. We have 30 to 40 of some of the most intelligent, most productive people I've met in my time here in this space. We're in there, and they're providing a contribution, a monthly contribution that's going directly to help fund the staff and a lot of things we have going on here. So it's our Patreon, right? So feel free, think about participating in the WhatsApp group. See, I'm in there, by the way. A lot of folks who really want to continue these conversations and have me in there as part of these conversations, feel free. And finally, hyper distribution. Here's the website. If you want to participate, get some special deals, become a wholesaler. Like we have this big bag of rice. This is just strictly a wholesale deal. Strictly a wholesale deal, right? We have boxes of these, for you to be able to repackage and do what you want to do with it. We're bringing them out by the container load in Haiti. So feel free, reach out to the website. Let's start a conversation. We're always looking for new retailers and wholesalers and people to partner with through the entity that we have going on here. So that's the rundown. Oh, cannot forget those looking to contribute to the Canal project. Put the information of Antoine on screen one more time. Doing some fantastic work. Those looking, the Canal Pop Company, right? And so Antoine Claude is someone we've worked with. We're providing bi-weekly contributions to what's going on. He's part of one of the organizations. And one of the best ways to do it is just a money transfer service directly to the bank account. And you can, before you do so, feel free to contact him, reach out to him, have a conversation with him, vet him out. I can tell you, I vetted him out. He is on the up and up. His organization is serious and earnest. But you have the ability to reach out and contact Antoine Claude directly yourself as well, right? So that's the show. Thank you so much. Today was the 2nd of October. I'll see you next Sunday, same time, 8-ish, 9-ish, right? Depending on when the little ones allow me to leave the house and get to the studio space. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are real MVPs. We were on this for 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I know I'm seeing the same names from when I started to where I'm ending right now. So you guys are the true MVPs. Anybody can talk. It takes twice as much effort to listen. So appreciate you listening, and everyone who's engaged, everyone who chatted, everyone who shared. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and we'll be back at it again when we're back at it again. Peace.